Good morning guys and welcome back to the channel. So today we are brewing a New Zealand Pilsner. Got my vitamin malts just beneath me there. Got the kettle on in the house for a cup of tea because it is rather cold this morning, 7 degrees. So essentially, once I've got a bit of temperature in my fingers, we shall start mashing in. The hot liquor tank is up to temperature and I'm really excited for today's brew day. So without further ado, let's get stuck in. So I've just tested my little speaker and for whatever reason it isn't working, so never mind. Anyway, I've got my cup of tea. So, I'm officially ready to get mashing in. So, let's get started. Okay, so we are all mashed in and recirculating now. So that's 75 kilos of grain. That's pretty much the biggest amount of mash that I've put in up to this point. I'm really looking to maximize the space from the unit tank, hoping to get towards like 340, 350 liters. Usually I'm up at like 320. Because this is obviously a lager, I'd like to age it and to kind of reclaim a little bit of the cost of having a tank tied up. I really want to maximize it, so hopefully there's a little bit left over and I've got a little bit of water I can maybe put in a homebrew fermenter. We shall see, one step at a time. As you can see, it's recirculating now. Obviously that's literally only been running for about 2 minutes, so it's obviously very cloudy. And I just need to keep an eye on it, make sure that we're not stuck with the sparge at all. And I'll grab the pH reading in a minute. So we are approaching the hour mark now, and we're getting a nice bit of clarity now on the wort. Although I have seen it a bit brighter before, so I'm going to extend the mash an extra 10 minutes and just see if we can filter that haze out slightly. pH was 5.75, so I've added a little bit more lactic just to bring that down. I'm going to test that now and see where we are at, but it's just going to be really helpful because I think I'll only ever use vitamin malts really moving forwards with my lagers. So, and I imagine they'll all be relatively similar. It's just about dialing in the process really when it comes to lagers. I was also thinking about maybe, because I think I'm around 2 litres per kilogram in the mash. So I was looking at maybe doing step mash, but doing like 1.5 litres a kilo at like, try and get around like 50 degrees and then throw in the extra grain, maybe get it up to 3 litres a kilo for the like saccharification rest, so like the mid 60s, just to try and break down some of those proteins to get them into the final beer. Okay, so I've given it roughly an extra 10 minutes and maybe slightly clearer. I don't think it looks too much different, so I think it is what it is at this point. When I retested the pH after adding an extra 15 mil, it had gone from 5.75 to 5.67. I think I was aiming for around 5.4, obviously. So I've just basically made the note for next time. Add around 70 mil or so. I only added 50 today. So right, we'll start transferring over now. So where it comes up the pipe here and then back into the top of the mash tun for the recirculation. I'll just open this line, shut this one, and then we can send it into the kettle instead. Okay, so we are now transferring the hot water from the hot liquor tank up and into the mash tun. Draining out the bottom, coming up to a little sight glass, through there. We are now filling the boil kettle. The aroma is wonderful, really good. I've missed that smell. So there's something that just hits different about Viaman malt. Yeah, it's just so good. So I don't usually add any finings because of most of my beers are like well, hazies, but I've got a few Protaflock tablets that I've got going spare, so I'm going to throw them in. And this is what I'll be using as my fining agent, Super F, which I've not really, well, I've never used before, so it'll be interesting to see how quickly that kind of kicks in. Obviously, with it being a New Zealand Pilsner, there's quite a bit of character to it. I don't think people will be too bothered if there's a slight bit of haze, but obviously I want it to be crystal clear. So I'll ask around probably a few other brewers how they've been using it. Maybe ask for Murphy and Sons for their advice on it as well. And yeah, just see how we get on with it. But obviously I'll share what I do and what the outcome is, and we'll have a look at the clarity. I purely want to, well, I'm using dried yeast for this, and ideally I'm going to be looking at liquid suppliers for my lagers, just because liquid is just far superior in my opinion when it comes to lagers, at least anyway. So yeah, no, really excited. So the transfer is now completed. We've got a full boil kettle. I'm just doing a reading on that now. I've got the grain father filled, and now the job of digging out the mash tun. It's pretty much fully drained off, so there's no more water. I leave it a little bit of time just to try and drain off as much water as possible before I package them in my bags and put them in my car, because I don't want a big sticky mess in there. Yeah, just literally, what temperature are we at now? 91.6, so it's probably going to take an hour or so to get up to temp before the first hop addition goes in. In the meantime, I'll just dig out the mash tun and get that squeaky clean. So in that hour, I'll just dig out the mash tun and get that nice and clean before the first hop addition. Right, so our 60-minute addition is Hallertau Magnum. Just to kind of give us the base bittering. Lovely. So the time is 12:30, so we're doing all right. Considering it's considerably cold outside, it's quite warm in here, to be fair. Got the mash tun all clean, and just stir in these hops now. So I am going to be cleaning my little bucket fermenter, as I do have some liquid yeast in homebrew packs. So I'm going to do a little starter, and then we're going to nip some of the wort probably tomorrow now though. I've got half an hour till the next edition, so I'm gonna get cleaning that. And do you know what? I ordered it about 3 months ago. I can't even remember what the liquid yeast is now. It's a White Labs one. I know it's a German lager because I was gonna make a lager for my birthday at the start of October, but that plan just flew out the window. So I'm kind of hoping, seeing as I'm making a lager, before I had the Whirlpool editions, which is going to be some New Zealand hops. At that point, it'll basically be kind of more like a German Pilsner. So yeah, gonna nick a little bit of wort, at least get myself a few bottles for Christmas. Which will be lovely. Right, let's get cleaning. We have now reached the end of the boil, and I've just chilled down to 80 degrees for the Whirlpool. And now I'll be adding some mozzarella. And lots of wonderful Nelson. So, give that a quick stir. Now I'm just going to let it settle for 20 minutes and then I'll start transferring across. So with those additions in, I'm gonna, well, I don't need to touch it now for another 10 minutes or so. I've never really had to focus on clarity going into the fermenter too much. Obviously you should anyway, regardless of the type of beer that you're making. But that's what it's looking like now. So before, I don't know whether that's just the finings coagulating all the protein together, which I'm assuming it is, because if you look at it, it's dropping. Hopefully you can see that okay. The camera on the other side of my phone is a bit buggered. So I'm assuming what's happening in that sight glass is also happening in the kettle. So we shall see what the clarity looks like. I added 3 Protafloc tablets into 210 litres. Not sure whether that'd actually be enough, but it's all I had. The smell of the Nelson is wonderful. But before I added my Whirlpool hops, I've just took away, still hot, just removed about 5 litres. The gravity was 1080, so I'm looking at about 350 litres in the tank, which is really pretty much exactly what I wanted, really pushing it to the max. They're 375 litre tanks, so I'm pretty much gonna liquor back as much as I can, and we'll see what happens. Yeah, we'll see. So I'll have to speak up. Hopefully you can hear me over the noise. So we've started transferring out the boil kettle now through these new transfer hoses. Bought these the other day. So that's just going along the floor and into the bottom of the tank there. So this usually takes me around half an hour, 40 minutes to transfer. The chiller's on and the tank's at 17 degrees. Obviously I threw the boiling water from the grain father in there, so that's been chilling that down for the past hour or so. In terms of the clarity, not quite there. I'm going to grab a sample out the tank later once I've liquored back and we can kind of see how it's looking there, but I think maybe I'm going to have a little look at the system and maybe see if there's anything I can do to try and get a better clarity, just because I'm not really too happy with that. So I've transferred across. I'm just cleaning out the boil kettle. I've never used whole hops before. This seems to have caught them pretty well. I'm actually kind of hoping that that means what's been sent across is actually quite clear, because it's obviously had to filter itself through all this. Oh, hello again, guys. So it is now the following morning, and the tank is at 9.9 degrees, which is our pitching temp. So we're still a little bit higher than the original gravity that we wanted. We do still have a little bit of headroom left to play with, so I'm just going to throw in the yeast now, which I've previously packaged into smaller amounts, just so I could use them on some homebrew batches. So approximately 300 litres, probably a little bit more than that, and the equivalent in grams is what I'm going for. So 1 gram to 1 litre of yeast. No, 1 gram of yeast to 1 litre of water. So just to keep it as clean as possible. This yeast is from AEB. I haven't actually had the opportunity to use it in a homebrew batch yet, but I figured if I just keep it low, keep the temperatures low, keep the pitch rate high, it should keep it quite clean. It says online it's good for Pilsners, which is pretty much what I'm brewing today. Well, yesterday. So yeah, I'm just gonna give it a go. I won this t-shirt, Bohemia Regent. It's a brewery from the Czech Republic. It's a really good beer. One of their master brewer came over to a bar around the corner from mine, and they did a little competition, and I won a t-shirt. I think Andy came with me as well, and what did he win? He won something. I've been like a bottle opener, or it was a really good night anyway. I got to chat about decoction mashing and the reason why it's so important, and you definitely should be doing it. Just my opinion. Anyway, yeah, let's get this thrown in. So the yeast is pitched. We've got up to 320 litres, which is exactly where I was aiming for. I don't think we could have risked putting too much more in, to be honest, maybe like another 10 litres or something, because I think at that point it hits the spray ball, and then it'd end up just like blocking the outlet, and then when it started fermenting, it'd end up just pushing beer up the arm and out. So yeah, so we got 1047, we were aiming for 1048, but I'll take that, that's absolutely fine. The pH was quite high. I was aiming for around 5.2, I think, and I'm around 5.6, which is considerably higher, but again, it's a new recipe. What I'm going to do though is different yeast drop the pH different amounts, so it's very easy to just add some more acid into the tank just to get it to where I need it to be. So I figured I'd just leave it at 5.6 for now, and we'll see how the yeast get on. It could be that they get it much further down. Probably I'd like to have the beer finish at around 4.2, 4.3. It would be good for me. So yeah, we'll just have to see where it gets to on it by itself, as I say. So today is the 25th of October. So I'm assuming I'm gonna have it in the tank for approximately 4 weeks, maybe 5 weeks. So this should be ready for the end of November. So I'd imagine by the time I put another video on here about it, well, with it being ready, that is, it should be around the start of December. So yeah, fingers crossed, and hopefully if you're watching this in the future, it's only just another click away to see how I got on with it. I'll record using the Super F and we can have a look at how that's performed as well. But yeah, thank you very much for watching, guys, and hopefully you've been excited as I was about brewing a lager, and I shall catch you on the next one. Cheers.